Good day, friends, and welcome to this episode of the PV Agri podcast and YouTube channel, your weekly gathering place for stories of hope, practical wisdom, and real progress from the fields, gardens, and communities across our land. I'm your host, and today we're taking you inside the PV Agri Network meeting, hosted as always by Bishop Paul Verin. It was one of those meetings that reminds you why this network exists, not just to talk about problems, but to roll up our sleeves, share what actually works, and stand with one another when the road gets tough. The meeting opened with an honest conversation about the elephant in the room, the current wave of xenophobic tensions and planned protests. Bishop Paul, Scott, Nancy, and others noted how easy it is for deep frustrations over service delivery failures, unemployment, and things not working to be channeled into the simple, destructive cry of "get rid of foreigners." But as the discussion quickly made clear, this network doesn't traffic in easy answers or scapegoats. The real work, the hard, necessary work, is creating jobs, skills, and inclusive agricultural opportunities that benefit everyone. Many foreign nationals, especially from Malawi and Zimbabwe, are outstanding farmers. They teach us, they produce food, and removing them en masse would damage our food systems and rural economies. The group kept returning to a central truth: our strength is in collaboration, not division. From there, the tone shifted beautifully into introductions and reports from the ground. We welcomed new voices, including Thembisel Tembai Mulejing, a farmer working in Kestel in the Free State, and Mildred Malubola, who joined us from work on her cell phone and would go on to share one of the most moving stories of the day. But first, let's go to John Dearden from Afroponics, who brought his usual energy and practical detail from the Cape Town training hub. John reported that multiple growing systems are now fully operational and teaching participants valuable skills. The hydroponics model has been running successfully for some time. The aquaponics system, fish and vegetables integrated, with plants growing in sand beds, was completed recently. Microgreens production is the latest innovation, including exciting trials using hemp seeds and other varieties aimed at local hotels and high-value markets. And just this week, they launched deepwater culture, those floating rafts you see in photos, with plant roots dangling directly into nutrient-rich water. John also shared two excellent resources he posted on the WhatsApp group this week. One was from a regenerative agriculture discussion featuring the founder of Jackson's Whole Foods and real farmers on the ground, the kind of practical, experience-rich conversation that answers so many of the questions that come up regularly in our network. The second was the story of a pumpkin farmer, what John called the Pampoon Fark, who was exporting to Europe but facing rejections for misshapen or oversized pumpkins. Instead of composting or dumping them, he started feeding them to pigs. What began as a solution to waste became a whole new income stream: pasture-raised pork. Craig Morrison immediately spotted the beautiful permaculture principle at work: different enterprises cross-supporting each other, turning what looked like a loss into profit and resilience. It's exactly the kind of creative, regenerative thinking this network loves to celebrate and spread. John also updated us that the mining rehabilitation work is progressing strongly, with real action on the ground expected soon, and that the Faith Connect Plus initiative, the church-based mobile network and app, is moving forward with important church leader meetings in the pipeline. Next, Thoko Mbence brought us up to speed on the prison farming and beekeeping initiative. She had a positive audience with the chaplain. The Beehive project has started, and some farming is already happening. She's going back this week to cement the way forward. There's important discussion about engaging at Department of Correctional Services head office level for smoother implementation, and Nancy Ncube has offered to open doors with key contacts. A follow-up call is already in motion. Anthony Modena then reminded us of the growing attention on inner-city Johannesburg needs. A key working meeting has been set for Tuesday, 14 July at 9 a.m. at the Cathedral, to work through Helen Wood's concept note and terms of reference for stronger church and religious forum engagement in the inner city. If you're part of that stream, please diarize it. Then came Jack Armour from Free State Agriculture, who always brings that facilitator's eye for the bigger picture and the practical details that make or break projects. Jack spoke about the Twesbraith Agri-Village concept, an attempt to use agricultural plots as a bridge between different parts of a town historically divided along racial lines. The site visit has been postponed to mid-July, but the vision of integrated, bridging development with government support remains alive. He also introduced us to a wonderful tool, a community planning board game developed by a minister. Through gameplay, communities can explore integrated development plans, spatial frameworks, resource trade-offs, and how to work together instead of fragmenting. Jack will be sharing more details with the network, This sounds like something many of our projects could benefit from. Jack also highlighted Professor Arne von Nickak's work on Ubuntu economics and his more accessible book Celebrating What Makes South Africa Great, a timely reminder to focus on positive stories and cross-community dialogue. But perhaps his most important intervention was on environmental impact assessments and developer accountability. After mining, wind, or solar projects are approved, the socio-economic development plans and rehabilitation commitments often become vague or disappear. Jack's clear message: communities must demand full copies of the environmental management plans and hold developers to account. That CSR funding can and should flow into local food gardens, agri-projects, and skills development. With thousands of abandoned mines now costing the state a fortune, tighter enforcement is coming, and communities that are organized and informed will be best placed to benefit. Jack also spoke honestly about how the current xenophobia tensions are affecting farms and food distribution chains. Many foreign workers are skilled, documented, and excellent farmers. A rush to remove them without careful planning risks hurting the very food security we're all working to build. And then came one of the most powerful moments of the meeting. Mildred Malubola, joining from work, shared the real, unvarnished story of her family's land restitution journey. The land has two portions, one agricultural, one a former scouting campsite with chalets and halls. Her great-grandparents and grandmother are buried there. Her father led the claim and passed during COVID. In his honor, the family is determined to make the farm functional and create jobs for the surrounding communities of Kanana, Mamelogi, and Neomafias. But the reality since handover has been tough. No startup grant, unlike some other successful claimants. Serious vandalism, gardens destroyed, bathrooms and infrastructure broken into. Police case opened but little action. The previous commercial renter left, taking the rental income with him. Limited funds were spent hosting an AgriSeta learnership last year. Yet Mildred and her brother are not giving up. They've identified a rich area for vegetable production. They've been connected to a pick-and-pay agricultural consultant who mentors small farmers to meet shop specifications from seedling to harvest. There's a real possibility of being added to a supply contract, with seedlings going in soon and first deliveries targeted for October. To make it happen, they need two urgent things: fencing around the production area and firebreaks or firebelts to protect against the tall grass fire risk on portion 66. The network responded the way it does best. Nancy offered to connect Mildred with prosperous local farmer Dr. Mutsuiniani. Bonginkosi, who manages firebreaks at his own center, offered practical advice. Bishop Paul immediately facilitated contact exchanges. Mildred also asked practical questions about the difference between firebelts and firebreaks, sparking a useful discussion. Jack reminded everyone of the Fire Act. Every property owner is responsible for ensuring fire doesn't spread from their land. Contact your local fire officer via the police station before doing controlled burns, and consider fire protection associations for communal breaks. Mildred's story wasn't polished or easy, it was real. And in that reality, we saw the quiet courage that so many land restitution families carry, honoring their ancestors by refusing to let the land go to waste, even when the system makes it brutally hard. Nelisa Zuma from Mpandi Gardens then lifted our spirits with her work on the Intlanzigo project. In partnership with the Department of Education, primary schools are starting and maintaining vegetable gardens as part of a competition. The goals are beautiful: stop schools from becoming dumping sites, teach children the dignity of working with their hands, show them how spinach grows and how strawberries form, and plant seeds of food security culture in the next generation. Nelisa maintains the garden at her own school and is leading the teaching. Her passion was contagious. Throughout the meeting, other voices added depth. Bonginkosi Zulu reported that volunteers will be cutting firebreaks around his development center tomorrow, with cabbage in the ground and potatoes now growing. Nancy Ncube offered to share links to long-running, successful sustainable agri-village models from around the world, some operating successfully for 30 to 50 years, so we don't have to reinvent every wheel. She'll also post the invitation for the Goethe Institute corporate fundraising workshop on the WhatsApp group. As Bishop Paul closed the meeting, he thanked everyone for a rich and interesting gathering and wished us all a safe weekend. What stayed with me, and I hope stays with you, is the spirit of this network. In a week where division and protest dominated headlines, here was a group of people choosing something different. Choosing to share real challenges without shame, like Mildred's vandalism and Grant's struggles. Choosing to celebrate practical innovation, John's multiple growing systems, and the Pampoon Fark story. Choosing to offer immediate, tangible help, contacts, firebreak advice, mentorship connections. Choosing to focus on the next generation, Nellis's school gardens. Choosing accountability and leverage, Jack on EIAs and CSR. Choosing to see one another as partners, not competitors. This is the PV Agri way, not charity, not slogans, but patient, determined, collaborative work to build food security, livelihoods and communities that can stand strong, even when the wind blows hard. Before we go, a few practical reminders. Diarise Tuesday, 14 July 2026 at 9:00 a.m. Inner City Johannesburg working meeting at the Cathedral on the terms of reference for church and religious forum engagement. Watch the WhatsApp group for the Goethe Institute, fundraising workshop invitation, and other resources. If you have skills, contacts, or resources to offer, especially around firebreaks, fencing, mentoring, compliance support, or EIA accountability, please reach out. The network is only as strong as our willingness to share. If you're not yet part of the PV Agri WhatsApp group or regular meetings, get in touch with Bishop Paul Verin. Everyone is welcome, whether you're an experienced farmer, an emerging gardener, a church leader, a facilitator, or simply someone who believes that food in every community and dignity in every person's work is possible. Thank you for listening, friends. Thank you for the work you do in your own gardens, projects, and communities. Until next time, keep your hands in the soil, your eyes on the horizon, and your heart open to your neighbor.